Hello, is your mind spinning? Can anyone help? I'm stuck in this Rubik's Cube with no end in sight. Ta-da! I'm here to rescue you from yourself and show you the light to investing. Come with me, my friends, before the jaws of life get you. You made it, guys and gals. No need to fear, the financial guru is here at your service. What to talk about today? Jaws! Oh, right, yes, sorry, I'll come back to that. Investing. Have you ever thought maybe I should just invest in tech companies, airlines, clothing brands, industrials, jewelry, food industry, the car industry, artificial intelligence, and the list goes on and on and on. What industry should you invest in for the stock market? Well, first we need to go to our circle of competency. What we know right now. That could be a lot, a little, or not much at all. We all have a starting point. Do you have a particular area you work in, like real estate? So you can look at REITs and land trusts. It can be a good place to start. I started with absolutely nothing. I knew nothing about the stock market. I heard about it for years, but had no one in the immediate family that knew about it. Then one day, I was talking about shares with an acquaintance, and I got the bug from there. I started initially in ETFs, but soon realized there were more to gain in individual stocks. And away I went. We all have a story. You can change your life and the people around you today, not tomorrow, today, by gaining the knowledge for investing. Looking at what industries you are interested in can be a good way to start. So for me, that is cruise lines. I'm sure many of you have been on a cruise and wish to go again in the near future. You can right now, but only at a limited capacity. But being able to relax with a beer, wine, cocktail, mocktail, whatever you choose, while watching the views of the sea, eating the lovely food, and then jumping on shore for a day or two of an adventure at each port. What a fantastic idea. Which company should we go in? The Norwegian cruise lines. Sounds like something out of Deadliest Catch. Good old Sig hats. Carnival Corporation and place. Sounds like a party that would feature clowns, jugglers, and more. Or the Royal Caribbean for the upper class. And of course, the Queen. This is further from the truth, but it's a good way to segue to a serious part. What do cruise lines do? I thought it's best to get it from the horse's mouth. So they say, Carnival Corporation in place. They claim in their vision statement, our highest responsibility and top priority are compliance, environmental protection, and the health and safety and well-being of our guests, the people in the community we touch and serve, and our shipboard and shoreside employees. On this foundation, we aspire to deliver unmatched joyful vacations for our guests, always exceeding their expectations and doing so driving outstanding shareholder value. We are committed to a positive and just corporate culture based on inclusion and the power of diversity. We operate with integrity, trust and respect for each other, communicating, coordinating and collaborating while seeking candor, openness, transparency at all times. And we aspire to be an exemplary corporate citizen, leaving the people and the places we touched even better. How about we also look at Carnival's mission statement? Together we deliver joyful vacation experience and breakthrough shareholder returns by exceeding guest expectations and leverage our industry leading scale. Well, what a statement. Environmental friendly health and safety shareholder returns, joyful vacations for our guests, and a great corporate citizen leading the world in cruise lines. Basically, that shows how many people they need to impress, including environmentalists, lobbyists in parliament and on the ground, health and safety concerns, that's even more politics, corporate citizens, so being approachable to many businesses, being loyal to the shareholders and guest satisfaction when running a business strategy. So the cruise line main source of income is from selling tickets for their cruises, which includes the mainstream cheaper rooms or sometimes in the dark rooms, that generally run at a cost price or a loss, as they have to pay for food, cleaning, taxes, wages, port fees, fuels, maintenance costs, etc. Premium middle class, they make a little bit of money in ticket sales, but the luxury cruise lines, that's where you make the real moolah, the money up front. But there is other ways they actually make their money, and that is in the bars, restaurants, casinos, and shopping outlets, where people on average can spend up to $450 per person each trip. If you're someone like me who just has a water and a few cold drinks, they are probably losing money. If you're in the lower class area, they are probably losing money on my trip, especially when you get a room at a discount. But the people that spend up large on the alcohol, gambling at the casino, shopping for jewellery and clothes, then cha-ching all the way to the bank for the cruise lines. They also make money from investors buy their stock, which they can then sell to improve the business or keep by repurchasing more of their shares back, giving the investor more in their pocket. But currently they are selling more shares, which is not ideal as it dilutes your ownership in the company. They can raise capital by adding more shares or offering their shares to a few big investors. They also sadly gain money from their staff, paying them a lot less wages as they hire from countries like the Philippines. How is this stuff legal? But in corporate America, most of the hard work gets done in China and Taiwan and countries like that to save on paying Americans who will do the same job for a lot less money. So in saying all this, are cruise lines worthy of investment? Depending on price at the moment, I think there's a possibility if they drop a little bit. But first, we need ships that are not easy to maintain. They cost around $1 billion or even more, depending on what you have on the ship. Then it costs millions to maintain. So a cruise line is only just up and running in the last month or so. They have been burning through the cash. Since the Rona began, with no income coming in, they are taking out big loans with the banks and share offerings to investors to stay afloat. I believe the risk and reward has more benefits than negatives. We could see some more short-term pain over the next year due to the occurrence of the Rona, stopping ships sailing. But once life goes back to normal, in 2022 I believe, we will be sailing the seven seas again. In no time at all, we'll make our way back to profitability. So what is the price target of these companies when they are fully up and running? CCL, Carnival Cruise Line Corporation in place. When I look at the historic figures and on potential future numbers for each of these three companies, I've come up with figures on what they potentially could be worth. CCL, Carnival Corporation in place, I consider it being worth about $50 when it's all back up and running. Now if they bring back a dividend on top of that, then $60 is achievable. Do I believe they'll bring back the dividend? Could be waiting might be waiting 2 years maybe for the dividend. But if it comes back, we could all be laughing all the way to the bank. Could it go to $100? Possibly. You would need to double the passenger numbers than they had pre-Rona, so probably highly unlikely. These are things you have to think about when you are investing into a company. As on the other side, if the Rona continues to wreak havoc on the ships and people choose to stay away as they are too scared of getting the Rona, especially the 65 and up range, they could go sinking to the bottom of the sea to bankruptcy. I see that also as highly unlikely, but if we had another disaster on top of the Rona, then cruise lines could be in trouble. If you're looking for a steady investment that does have some risk, I would buy all day under $22. But if it drops to $15 again, which could happen with the bad news, I would load the boat. Remember, CCL is the biggest cruise line, so it is less likely to fail, but there's no guarantee. Now, Royal Caribbean. RCL is the ticker symbol if you're looking for it on the websites. This is what I call the more premium of the cruise stocks. They seem to always be at a higher price compared to the industry, so finding a bargain can be a little bit harder with a popular stock like this one, because when they fall in price, they rise more quicker. So the price at the moment is a bit over the top for me, but if it was to drop to $60, then I would be getting interested. As I like to double my money in stocks, so 120 is where I suggest RCL, the Royal Caribbean price, will end up when we get back to normal. but I'm often on the lower side, so it could easily go up to 150, with this being a premium company that people like to buy. So it could be a decent price right now. Just when you're investing, a quick tip: sometimes just because the money has risen quickly doesn't mean it will continue. Keep re-evaluating what you think your stock is worth, which I will discuss in other videos on this channel. You're welcome to leave a comment on anything you'd like me to discuss on this channel. And finally, Norwegian Cruise Lines Holdings, NCLH, the ticker symbol. I rate them at around $45, so you would need to see them drop to about $25 for me to buy. If you're considering buying into the cruise line industry, do some more research as they are losing money currently, and pick the stock out of all the cruise lines you like. You can go into two, but I personally like to favour the one I really like, because otherwise you start diluting and one of them gets a lot smaller position than the other, and there's no point having one that's real small and one bigger. You're better off just have it all in one company, I believe. You should wait for a bargain price and load the boat. Most people will tell you to buy at an average cost basis. To me, the best time to buy is when you see the bargain and take it. Yes, it can go lower, but once it starts climbing, it can be hard for it to drop back down to that lower level again unless some crazy catastrophic event happens. If you wait and it doesn't go to your price, there will always be another stock to invest into. I like the cruise line model. It is pretty simple to understand. They make their money from customers on board their ships, as simple as that. Then they pay their expenses and you're either left with a profit or a loss. Cruise lines are less complex to understand compared to companies like Apple or Amazon that have many streams of revenue coming from all different places. So the more in-depth research is needed for some companies compared to others. I'd like to thank you for joining the channel today, and hope you got some insight into the cruise line industry and how they work, their mission, and what they are potentially worth as a stock. I will now sail into the sunset. Au revoir, my friends, until we meet again.